All right, today is the day. The engine is all together. All the piping is tightened up. Fuel lines are done, finished, and I actually just put about 4 or 5 gallons of fuel in the tank. So, gonna be starting it up here. But first of all, gotta check. That is our Walbro 255 priming. Gonna double check for leaks and such as we go. We got a couple connections. You can kind of see there. I got a bulkhead going through the trunk. Got fuel filter right about here. And then we got our connections at the firewall, of course. But gonna be checking fuel pressure as well. Looks like we are already getting a few PSI here. I think I'm gonna target something like 45 PSI or so. I think it's the stock fuel pressure. And we're holding. That's a good sign. That means there's no like catastrophic leaks. So that's good. All right, I let it run a few more seconds after just double checking, and I didn't even touch that yet, so that's pretty funny. It's like 47-ish PSI, and so far so good. Everything is dry. I don't smell anything on this end, and we're looking pretty good. And got my drip pan, of course, because last time that went so well. But before we go any further, safety first. I have one over here in case there's any weird stuff over here, and then I also have one over here in case anything by the fuel tank happens. And here we go. What's going on? All right, we had a brief hiccup there. I think it just needed to kind of build some more fuel flow through everything, but we're gonna try this again. All right, we got something funky going on. It sounds like the plugs could be fouled from when I test fired it with the starting fluid. So it seems to be clearing up a little bit though, so I'll give it a couple more shots. All right, so I'll have to, I might want to pull the plugs, but I at least can do this. So it won't hold the idle without being floored, and I moved the TPS just a little bit because I had replaced that, and I haven't really completely set it up yet, but I might try moving it again, see if it gets any better. So I know I fast forwarded quite a bit, but still kind of dealing with an interesting issue where the engine is very rich, basically. It's basically, it seems like it's getting way more fuel than I feel like it should be getting. And, well, I mean, right now, I can do this. ECU on, fuel pump on, and it actually fires right up. But as you can see, the AFRs at idle are way too rich. They're anywhere from like a high 11s-ish to, you know, 10, almost 9. Well, now it's starting to get a little leaner, but I've set the fuel pressure like you would for factory. So, well, it's a little lower right now, but if I bring it up to where it would be for factory, it's a little over 30 with no vacuum. And if I cut off the vacuum, we should see about 42, 43. And that rises up. Still creeping, but it gets right up there, you know, within a few PSI. But the problem is if I leave it that high, it starts to get richer and richer. So that's why I had to drop down a little lower. Now, good news being that I filled it with water and water wetter, and we're looking good there. It's bleeding out. Thermostat is open, and we're holding pretty good temps. Oil pressure, all that's good. I don't see any leaks under the car at all. Sure, it's a little loud down here, but we're doing good. No fuel, no water, no oil. There might be a little bit of seepage from before, but I also am going to be changing the oil and checking a couple things anyways. But look at that. We are sitting at a nice 180 degrees. Oil temps are, you know, close to 170 now, I think. Let's see, that's 160 in the middle. Yeah, so we're probably high 160s right now on the oil temps. And the idle, you know, we could call that like 750-ish maybe. And we got great vacuum. That's right where we want it, 20 inches. But AFRs are too rich, and I can't rev it. If I try to rev it, it'll go up a little bit, kind of sounds like it's almost loading up, and then it wants to die. So I'm just gonna keep bleeding it. At this time, I might lean it out a little just so I'm not, you know, washing things down. I hope I'm not getting anything in the coolant here. You know, that's kind of the last thing I want. So I'm gonna lean it out a bit more. And if you notice, the idle quality goes up when I lean it out. I'll get it closer to 20 nominal here. The idle speed smooths out a little, goes a little higher. Now we're closer to 8. And AFR is a little better. But I do hear a hiccup. Seems like it's getting a little worse. You can hear that. So, gonna keep at it. Okay, long story short, found some problems with wires that I had messed with. My fault. I got that. Went through several iterations of, did this do it? No, did this do it? Okay, that's better. Okay, no voltage here, there, blah, 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 back and forth. I'm just gonna cut right to the chase here. And there's a reason I've got my hearing protection ready to go here, because JZs are a little bit loud. Open downpipe. So 3 years have been leading to that point right there, just being able to finally hear this thing fire up and sing in all its glory. You might have been able to tell there is like a 5,500 RPM limiter there, some sort of fuel cut. It's pretty common. It can be caused by a couple different things, so I'm gonna figure that out. But I do believe, at least at this time, and I'm gonna do another couple like heat cycle checks just to double check. But I think I'm ready to test drive it. I say that very carefully because, you know, you never know. I got a few things to settle here, obviously, and I got to put this, at least the driver's seat back in. Basically, most of this actually isn't like as crazy as you'd think. I just have to, well, I'll secure it temporarily at minimum, if not, put it all back to where it came from. But the other major thing that I still need to do is bleed the clutch, and I have to, you know, test all the gears on the transmission while it's on the jack stands, and I also need to mount the fuel pressure regulator for real here. And yeah, double check for leaks here and there while I'm doing my heat cycles and all that, and just make sure that it's stays consistent. Consistent. That's kind of the major thing that I want to, you know, not put the cart before the horse. You know, just be like, oh, cool, it revs mostly, you know, for the most part. Let's go drive it. No, like, you know, put a couple miles on it on the jack stands, so to speak, and you know, also get a little heat through the clutch. Make sure I'm not going to have any issues there. One thing that I don't have is a clutch pedal stop. It does have an adjustable rod for the master cylinder setup that I have, but I don't want to completely rely on that just in case. But luckily everything else seems to be working well. Throttle cable, that sort of thing. I didn't touch the brakes during the swap, so that should all be the same, should be fine. The steering, I do have a depowered power box, and anybody who's ever driven something that's heavier than a Miata that has no power steering when it is supposed to have power steering, it is a complete pain in the butt. And even though I got this car without power steering originally, that was a manual box with a wider ratio. So it's kind of designed to have more leverage than a power box. So this is going to be a very interesting, very ginger, careful test drive when it does come. And I got a couple clamps to put on the intake side here. But other than that, we're looking pretty good. So like I said, hopefully next video will be that test drive. And this is so cool. But I'll see you next time.